I'm on silent.
Perfect. I don't
I
even know
look
where
like
my phone
shit
is. So.
today, but oh well.
No, you don't. Listen, I made it out of the house.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
It's been a morning.
It's Monday. Of course, it's every Monday when we record.
This is the kind of morning where you wake up and realize that your toes are so skinky that you have to do something like emergency.
What's wrong with your toes?
So you slap nail polish over the other layer or two that you already had on there, trying to
for sure.
fix the worst of the worst.
They didn't look bad.
At least I didn't wake up to dog crap.
Yes. Yeah. See, you woke up to skanky toes.
But my dog did not.
I woke up to poop. It's my fault.
Poop all over the house.
It's literally my fault.
Because
I was
trying to be helpful.
I gave him like a little lick mat with like strawberries and blueberries and peanut butter and a banana and then a square of Greek yogurt.
Oops, it was the Greek yogurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you get for trying to give your dog something with probiotics.
Jeez.
Should know better.
It's like runs
if you
right
fed him McDonald's, he'd probably be fine all the time.
Just clump it right up. Well, we give him probiotics anyways.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, yeah. Just for
so
like good gut health.
It's got to be the dairy.
So yeah, so I'm thinking like his stomach just can't handle.
He has a little dairy allergy. Okay, and these sweet babies.
All right, we have
guests today. And we're gonna have guests next time too.
Yes.
We're gonna have Rebecca Kochanek. Let me try that again.
Say that 10 times.
Rebecca Kochanek will be with us.
Yay!
Yes.
Yeah. Talking to us about all things.
How hard it is to go to parties.
Yeah. Whenever you are an introvert who is running a business or, trying to put yourself out there, how do you do that?
And how do you manage yourself when you're kind of an extroverted introvert? Like you can turn it on and you enjoy yourself for a while, but it costs you a lot to do it. Yeah. So we'll talk to Rebecca about all that because
stay tuned for the next episode.
She knows that stuff. Yeah.
But today we are following up with our last talk where we ended. You kind of told us that we were talking about love. So we're going to hear the beginning. Let's go ahead and follow up on that. Love, and that it's not always unicorns, poop, and rainbows.
Poop and rainbows?
Yeah. That's what I think of. I think of like a unicorn like walking around and just...
A unicorn pooping rainbows.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah.
It's not always like
that. Oh my gosh.
No. And neither is self-love.
No.
I'm in a space right now where I'm having a really interesting time remembering how to love myself.
Is that not horrible?
I don't love it.
I don't understand.
I don't love that part.
Why? Okay,
I know why.
Why?
Wait, you think you know why?
No, I definitely don't know why.
Oh, no, I want to hear what you were going to say.
Well, I was just going to say, it brings me back to the times that we've talked where you're like, it always comes back around. And...
The Koru.
Yes, and it comes back around in a way that is not as identifiable. I feel like I'm pulling myself out of this rut.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize, I was going through a transformational period. Yeah. And I was, down and beating myself up and just couldn't figure out what was going on. And then I was like,
there
what the
it is.
Hell?
Yeah. Yeah. So is it that we just get too caught up in what we're doing and don't realize the cycle part of, like we're just doing today and we don't realize how it sits in the cycle?
It could be it.
I want to say that's part of it.
But I feel like that's not fair, right? Like, because to do my best, it's like I can focus on today. I know I write out my week and what I have to do, but like, here's what I can do today.
Do you seriously write out your week?
Yes.
Oh God, your boys.
The boys are getting angry.
They're getting a little feisty.
A little feisty.
Well, we should probably introduce them too.
We should.
This is Rowan. These are 8-week-old miniature poodle puppies that belong to Carolyn, our house mother here at the well. So Rowan is the little
chocolate one.
Yeah, he's gorgeous and caramel.
And feisty.
And snarky. And this little black guy is Smokey. And
they look like
they are in the process of being socialized so that they can be our little house dogs here. But
Aw.
Don't tell Elvis. He'll think I'm two-timing.
Yeah, Elvis is going to be like,
Two-timing
first
on
of
him.
all, whenever you come home and you smell like that,
I know.
Elvis is going to be like, where have you been?
Well,
Why
because
wasn't I there?
he was trained as a therapy dog, and he used to come to work with me all the time. But then he
happened?
lost his little mind one time.
Oh, no.
He got a little upset at a baby.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
my little Moscow guy. He's
Well,
anxious.
I didn't know that his teeth hurt.
Oh, yes.
So
If
this
he's
is
in
a
pain,
thing.
yep.
I didn't realize that, and I felt like the world's worst dog mom. Chihuahuas have notoriously bad teeth,
Yep.
which I also didn't know because he's my first Chihuahua. He's my first dog under 45 pounds. Yeah. 8 pounds, mind you.
tiny.
He's so little. But anyway, yes, so he got fired
Aw.
from coming to work.
No more therapy work.
You're fired. Yes, we do not get upset at our clients and still get to come to work. So
You don't get to take your
he's
bad
been
day out on
grounded.
your client.
No, you do not. We don't growl at the clients. No.
Oh, poor
Yeah,
guy.
poor dude. He misses
having a
it
rough day.
so badly.
Well, and I didn't realize until you said it about the Chihuahuas having bad teeth. Moscow is part Chihuahua, and so
You really have to watch it.
he
It's
has
a thing.
already like chipped some of the outer layers of
Yeah.
his teeth.
I'm not surprised.
But that's why my dogs get an adjustment. Is because like if your dog's
So
in
are
pain, they don't listen.
you're getting your dogs adjusted regularly? Mm-hmm. Okay, if you don't know about this, you need to know about this.
Yes.
So dog chiropractic, any animal, pet chiropractic and pet craniosacral. I used to work on my friend's horses. She had beautiful horses that she rode professionally, and I got to work on them. It was so much fun.
Yeah,
They get so happy when they start to like release.
feels good.
Oh my
yes.
gosh, they release and like they start pooting 1st of all, and then their mouths hang open and they start drooling like big
They're like,
lines that they're like, oh,
This was so good.
I love it.
Never knew
so
I
much.
could feel this good.
So your chiropractor was a human chiropractor, right?
Yep,
And
Dr.
now she's
Irini.
Dr. Irini, and now she's an animal chiropractor, and that's all she's doing. She doesn't do like a two for person, like the owner and the animal.
I think she is, and I could be wrong. I think she's definitely focused more on animals. I think she still dabbles in humans, but
Dabbles in humans. That sounds like a really great way to go through life. Mostly animals dabbling
because
in
like
humans.
they're animals. Like, come on, like give them a little bit of training, a little bit of love, and like pay attention to their pain, and it's
And
a
don't
world of
feed them
difference.
Greek yogurt.
And do not absolutely
At least do it like small
make sure your dog
tests.
does not have a milk or dairy allergy, because.
It erupts.
And you think I would have learned this from the first time?
So 2 baths this morning.
2 before 9 o'clock. I woke up at 7:15.
So when we say your morning was a shit show, we're not kidding.
No,
It really was.
no, it really was. I was just trying to survive, you know. So
I've only experienced that when my animals were super old. I have not experienced it with a young animal.
feel
That
like that's all
doesn't
I've
sound
done.
fun at all. It's
I'm
just
like,
clean
we're
up
getting
crap.
prepared for children, and everybody's like, "Well, your
Okay.
children's in a diaper."
This
so
is
like,
kid boot camp here.
yeah. But like, my kid would be in a diaper. I'm about to put his ass in a diaper.
That would be fun to clean up.
Ugh.
God.
Well, he already wears like a little pee thing.
Oh, does he wear a boy band?
Oh my god.
That's what we call it in our
Yes,
house, the
it's a
boy
boy
band.
band, yes.
He's in a
Because
boy band.
he gets excited. The only time he really pees.
Oh, he just dribbles from excitement.
Yeah, he did pee in the cage because he pooped everywhere, so he was feeling a little bad.
Buddy.
Yeah. But typically it's just like when he gets excited, it's like a little dribble.
Yeah. Well, one of my best friends had one of the most interesting, we'll be kind, one of the most interesting dogs I've ever seen in my life.
Oh gosh.
Yes, he looked like a hyena, like a white hyena. he was the kind of ugly only a mother could love.
Aww.
But his name was Squirt, and it was appropriate.
It wasn't.
He would get very excited, and it would just squirt everywhere.
Oh,
Poor
no,
guy.
poor
He
guy.
did not have a
I'm
whole
so
lot going for him.
So my dog therapist, if you will, she doesn't prefer to be called a trainer. She's
Sure.
like
Okay.
She's mindful of
Yes.
of dogs and what's going on. She would say that dogs have 2 realms. So they
Okay.
have a Pandora's box where like they're just going to act and react, or they have the like better companion side. So we're working with Max and Moscow to be able to like not every time something happens that they're
Not to
unsure of,
get
not revert
triggered.
to the Pandora's box.
Huh.
But to be
Where
like,
it's just scripted, like this happens and I do this?
yes.
Is that what that is? Okay.
So it's like Max unfortunately has to wear a muzzle, like if he's outside of his crate. So if there's a muzzle for when we're walking, and there's a muzzle for like whenever he's just out playing.
He just can't control his mouth.
He uses his mouth. So he uses his mouth to take control, like to lick you or to maybe growl or like snarl at another dog.
Is he trying to be the boss of the situation, or is he just trying to find his place in the situation?
He is trying to control the situation.
Okay.
And that's because he's never had control. Yeah. He's never had it. So now he's trying to control it. And so we're working on desensitizing him from wanting to use his mouth with everything in his paw. Like he'll paw you. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. It is a world of difference.
That's so cool.
We've been hardcore working, though,
for you have to be so consistent,
a month and a half. Yeah. And it's like he gets fed 5 times a day. Every time he's fed, he's in his cage. Whenever he's done eating, he lays in there, and then we have to take him out on a walk. It's like a really very specific. When we're walking, he has to be paying attention. Yes, it's a part-time job.
Yeah.
But he's going to be a great dog and a great companion for the rest of his life.
This is, you could just come into my office and talk to the parents that bring their babies in, because this is what I talk with parents about all the time. I call it putting money in the bank. Yeah. You are doing the hard, in the trenches, just back-breaking work right now, because you're going to come out the other side with an animal that knows how to be in society, that isn't anxious, that doesn't shake when you get,
That doesn't bark at other dogs, that doesn't snarl.
And then they have an experience in life where they're always the bad dog. And that's no one would want that for
That's not fair.
No, that's horrible. And it could just so quickly turn it around. I mean, 6 weeks seems like a long time while you're in it, but it's really no time at all.
It's not. It flies by.
Not in the big picture. Not in a lifetime.
But what sucks, what we're figuring out, is like we're in it, we're in the trenches, and it's just so nice because everything else is going on, right? Like all of these monumental moments, like Michael wanting to start a business. Yeah. And then me trying to find my footing in my business.
Not trying.
Finding my footing.
Finding your footing.
Yes. In my business. And needing to take Max and now Moscow, because Moscow's working through it too.
Well, because our babies don't care what's going on in our lives. They need what they need, and that's what you sign up for. Yeah. Yes. So, you have a dog that sounds a lot like the babies that come to me that are dysregulated, right? Super fight or flighty. They need an external processor to help them. They need your nervous system. Yes. So that they can regulate themselves. They don't have the capability yet. So, we have to suck it up. We have to be calm and present and consistent. Yeah. Sometimes 24/7. Yeah. But I wish that people knew that it is not unlikely that you'll get a baby like that. So if you're making a baby, if you're planning to expand your family, and you think, I'm going to get a baby that sleeps 4-hour stretches, I can get up once or twice a night, I'll be fine. You may get a baby that literally cannot be set down without losing his ever-loving mind. You didn't know what you were getting when you signed up for Max?
No, I kind of did.
Oh, you kind of.
That's why we pulled him out of.
So you did bring this on yourself.
We did. I knew that we were ready to expand our family, and Moscow needed a friend, and I knew that I could take him. So I was like, let's do it.
There are those God moments where you kind of feel like you have to step up.
Like he needed this. You can see like in his eyes, like this is everything to him. Nothing is ever spiteful. It's all just
you're teaching him big skills. Yeah. You're up-leveling that little pupper.
Yeah. But like a huge difference in him was getting him adjusted. Finding out the different things that was going on in his body, and like as we started doing that more regularly, like even before the training, he just paid attention like a lot more. He's like, I'm not in pain, like I feel good. His
body didn't distract him. Yeah. It felt nice to live in his body.
Yes. Yeah. So then in turn he felt really good.
That is why getting the support team in place is so important.
Yeah,
You
and we've
gotta
got
know-
a really good, we got
You
a really
gotta
good
know who your
setup.
support team is. Is it gonna? And it doesn't have to be the same for everybody. If it resonates with you, it'll most likely resonate with your kid or your pet, right?
Yeah.
But if the chiropractor isn't doing it, there's other options. You can
Yes.
try acupuncture, you can try
Yes.
craniosacral, you
Oh,
can
yeah.
try massage therapy, try reflexology, try aromatherapy, try long walks in the woods, take up
But isn't that the point, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're ready to expand your family, so you're willing to do whatever it
to
takes
do whatever it takes.
to, you know,
Yeah.
to make it work best for all of you.
I do find that setting expectation is the part that's missing. We have an unrealistic view of what will be happening with a newborn or with a puppy, or I know.
Do you really want to dig into that? Because, like, let's take it back a step further.
Okay, go ahead.
I think that people do it because it's like getting married and getting a big shiny ring.
Oh, you think
You're
they're
having a
focused
family.
on? Okay, so
So, like, that's why I was like, do we want to get real controversial? Because we can, because to me, it's more than just, like, not knowing what you're setting yourself up for. Not realizing that you're not mentally or physically as, I know that you're never prepared for a child, but you can be as prepared as you want to be. And I feel like people don't take it seriously. They
I don't think that they think that way. Do
No.
people think that way about anything in life?
No,
really?
no.
Some
And then-
do.
And
Some
then
do
have a
it.
baby.
Well, and some do it to the point where it's an anxious,
Yes.
controlling type A
Controlling,
thing.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like having that control, but a lot more people don't think that way. Is what I, in my opinion,
In
and
my
what I've
experience
noticed.
as
Yes,
well.
is it goes back to like the friends that I went to high school with. Like they were having babies straight out the gate. You know, it was like what they wanted because it was what they knew.
Sure.
But then you don't
It's-
realize. So then it's unfair to the child because
Yeah, you're still just trying to figure out
you're
you.
trying to survive.
Yeah.
So then you give that survival mode to your child,
Oh, yeah.
who in turn, Michael, who now, you know, like his dad did the best that he could and he's very thankful for that, but he was in survival mode.
Sure.
And so now Michael's lived most of his life in survival
Because
mode.
that's what he was taught.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how you live.
yeah. And it can be detrimental.
When Honey gives me crap about being the older mom,
Yeah.
I always tell her how lucky she is that I waited.
Yes.
I have no idea how I could have parented.
And not shaming people who had kids young, right?
Oh.
Like, I
God, no, but
kudos.
I'm
kudos.
so glad that I
Yes.
waited. It would have been so hard for me to stay regulated at that age with as demanding of a child as she was. She was not an easy baby or toddler at all. And I had no idea that it could be that way.
When did you have your first baby?
36.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just telling Michael the other day, I was like, I am so happy that we don't currently have kids because of all the things I'm learning and still learning.
You're only
I'm
going to be
like,
a stronger parent.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. So there is a thing where you start to feel very much like you have your own life. And I do see this with older moms that I do births with or that I work with postpartum, that there's it's harder to shift. When you're super young and you have your kids, oftentimes it's just kind of like, we're just doing life. Like, this is just my life.
Yes. Yeah, yes.
Yes. But then for older people having their kids, there's this expectation that this is my life. Like, what are you doing messing with my life?
Yeah.
Like, I like my coffee in the morning.
Yes.
And I expect that the house will look a certain way, or I'm on this trajectory with my career and this is messing that up. It's a little bigger of a shift for older parents sometimes.
Well, see, and now I seen a difference. So when I worked
finally fell
at the
asleep.
chiropractor's office, like I'm exhausted from being a runt. When I worked at the chiropractor's office, it really, to see all of the babies and all of the young and older parents that come through, just to see the difference. So we would have moms come in and they would just be screaming at their child,
Yeah.
screaming,
Yeah.
and the kid
Just
won't listen,
they're
and the kid's
they're
touching
over
everything.
the max, yeah.
And then an older mom would come in, and that mom would, I didn't even know if they had a phone because they would never touch it. The kid would just sit there quietly, politely, they'd talk to each other, they'd interact. It was a lot more.
And you think that was along age lines?
Yeah, that
Really?
was
It
the
was that
biggest
obvious?
difference. Was because I seen
That's
these older
interesting.
parents with these little kids.
Yeah.
And then I had several older women who were like, this older lady specifically was like, when moms say terrible twos, that's not right. She was like, this is it's the best time of their life right here. It's the best time as a parent. You get to see their personalities start to form, and they're growing and they're learning. And I was just like, when did you have your first child? She had her first child at 38.
Yeah.
And she only had one child.
Yeah.
But she was like, yeah, I was an older parent. She was like, and every stage of their life, like, it just was amazing to me. And so I'm like, okay, I've never heard it from that point of view. It's usually like, oh, terrible twos, you know.
Yeah, oh, the
it's a
eye
horrible
roll.
time.
Yeah. Well, and teens.
Yeah.
That's all I ever heard was you just wait. You think two is bad, wait till they're teenagers.
Yeah. So I feel like all of that is very with our, like, love is not.
No, it's not always what you
Unicorns.
think it's going to be. No unicorns pooping rainbows.
That was a fart, wasn't it?
That was a fart. Farting rainbow.
Farting, pooping.
I like farting rainbows.
It's poop the rainbow, and then the cloud is a. You know how like rainbows have clouds.
It's perfect.
I get too much into it.
You're way into the unicorns pooping and farting.
Cause that's what I think of. Like, when people are like, "Oh, we're having a baby," and I'm like, "Okay," and then they're like, "Oh
Okay.
my gosh."
We used to call it "oh shit, the baby syndrome,"
Oh.
because people would really get focused on the birth and how they wanted the birth to be.
Mm-hmm.
So in my world, people always complain that people don't think enough about their birth.
That's
They're
good.
all really caught up on like the stuff and the nursery and all of the like how it's going to look and the baby's name
'Cause
and
that's
how they're
what's
going to
pretty.
dress them.
That's
It's all the
pretty.
sexy stuff, right?
Yes, yes.
And they wouldn't really think about the actual birth. They wouldn't put any thought into who their care provider is, whether their care provider had a theory of birth that aligned with theirs, or they would just not think about any of that. So in my experience, people mostly think about those things. I guess the people that find me are already thinking about those things.
Well, yeah, definitely.
But there is this tendency to kind of forget about the baby. It's like once you have the birth, which everyone was very focused on, oh, now there's this baby. What do I do with it?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I could see that.
it's kind of like the honeymoon's over, and now here's this thing.
That needs your 24/7
my
undivided
God.
attention.
I have literally had a dad
doesn't
say to
wanna
me,
leave you.
"This baby is an asshole. He will not let me sleep."
That's what it is.
I was so happy he said it.
Yeah.
You know,
Let it out.
there's no shame in
No, feeling that way.
admitting that.
Yes. You feel a
I
certain
really
way.
think it's important to be able to just matter-of-factly say it.
Yeah.
Because once you say it and it's out in the daylight, we know it loses power, right?
Yep.
So I was like, dude, call it out. Yeah, this kid's hard.
Mm-hmm.
You are correct. This is not an easy baby. What are you going to do with it?
But people are so scared to do that because of the shame that they get. I
I'm
feel like
way
you see a lot of
more-
parents that
ooh.
are like, you know, the grandparents of the parents who just had a baby. It's like, no, you know, you love that baby, and no, you don't say that. You don't feel that way. No. It's like,
No.
I do feel that way because
I
I'm
do.
with this dang baby all day long.
Yeah.
Who just wants to like be on my boob and like want me to hold him all day long. And
Yeah. Well, and I do think I also do think that there's this idea of expectation, because I find a lot of young parents think about a newborn as what I would think of as a 3-month-old baby. So they
Okay.
think the baby will have a rhythm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll expect to be fed on a schedule. Like there'll be some sort of schedule. Even if it's loose, at least there'll be a schedule.
when the baby's born,
Right. As
when
a
the baby
newborn.
has no idea, when you literally have to tell the baby or train the baby on like what a
Well, there's
schedule
no
is.
training. They're training. There's just a cycle.
Like
And it's
they already have a cycle.
They have a cycle. It's a survival cycle. That's all newborns care about, is surviving.
Yeah, for sure.
The only thing they care about is, am I safe and am I fed?
Okay.
That's it. So if they do something, it's because they are either happy that they're being fed and they're safe, or they're pissed off because they're scared they're not. That's it. There's no love. There's
There's no additional emotions.
no.
I feel like some days I feel that way.
Straight up survival.
I want to be happy I'm fed and
If,
alive.
well, Montessori taught that, right? Like,
Yeah.
her whole theory, the way that she developed her entire educational system was based in that theory of, are your basic needs met? Do you need to go to the bathroom? Well, it's what you were saying with chiropractic for your dog. Do I hurt somewhere and it's
That's true.
distracting
Like,
me and taking up
yes.
mental bandwidth to manage how I'm feeling in my body? Am I hungry? Am I tired? And if all of this is the thing though, if all of those things are met regularly when you're a little tiny person, like a baby, preferably before you even have to get agitated about it, you're not spoiling that baby. You are actually training the baby to be a calm, relaxed, laid-back human who thinks that their needs will be met without a lot of effort.
Wow.
If you don't, if you try to train your baby to not need you too early, you're training a baby to get agitated and overwrought and do whatever they have to do to get their needs met, and
So
that's
what's
going to be
too
their
early?
MO for life.
And that makes sense. That makes sense.
It's just logic. It's just logic. But
It
we
is, but,
forget
like,
because
I didn't think about that.
Our society teaches us independence. It's like
Yes.
toxic individualism
Yes.
from day one.
Well, and that goes
I can't
back to
put this
the-
baby down. I'm like, of
Yes.
course you can't, because that would mean that you would have to notice there's a problem, there's a danger, go find the baby, pick the baby up, get ready to run with the baby. That's too long. The baby's dead.
Yeah.
If there's a saber-toothed tiger coming at you, there's not time to go find the baby, pick the baby up, and run.
Yeah.
If the baby's on you, preferably moving so that they know you're alert and paying attention, then the baby can relax because they know they're safe.
Oh, wow.
This is a baby whose nervous system is so ramped up
That's
that is the only way they feel safe. So when parents reach out to me,
you see them walking around and like, oh, I need a. That makes sense.
this is a dysregulated baby because
You
they
don't
don't
think about
feel
the
like
baby,
their
though.
needs are being met.
Nobody ever talks about the baby.
Not consistently met. It's consistency. And it's catching it even before the baby needs to express it. That's why if you're...
So they know to always, like, they know it's going to come. I don't have to freak
I don't
out.
have to get all agitated about it because
it'll
everything's
happen.
just being taken care of. That's what they've known. Why does it suddenly change, right? Like,
you don't think
in
about the
utero,
baby.
you're completely encompassed in this giant buffered. Everything is softer, quieter, darker, and you don't have to do anything. You never have to express hunger because everything's fed directly into your body.
Yeah.
The perfect amount. Everything is just effortless. There's no need. Need doesn't exist. The second they're born, all of a sudden they're thrown into this crazy, loud, bright, harsh, fabric-y,
Yes.
overly tactilely stimulating, orally stimulating place where suddenly they have to figure out how to express need or they will die within a matter of hours. Nobody talks about this from the
that's what I was
baby's
gonna
point
say.
of view.
I was going to say that we forget that because I'm setting up a nice little room over here and I picked out a cute baby's name and we got all the cutest outfits. So like,
So your
why are
baby's
you
set.
crying? You're in a good outfit, baby.
You look cute.
You are cute.
Yeah, now be
So that
cute.
doesn't-
Why are you not cute? Why
I
are you,
don't
all you
understand.
do is scream at
Why
me.
are you screaming? Yes. Yeah.
So first of all, they're not screaming at you. We have to stop taking things so personally.
Man. We'll put you up on a pedestal and let you tell the country that.
Please stop taking things so personally.
But it's even more so a shot whenever you're like, your baby is not screaming at you.
Your baby is not screaming at you. Okay, so your baby's not screaming at you. You can't spoil a baby.
So this goes into, you said like too early. So what's a good...
Well, there are developmental milestones that make sense if you think about it from the baby's point of view. Now that I feel completely safe and secure in this weird reality that I've been thrown into with no warning, is starting to seem like maybe it's not going to kill me.
Yeah.
Then maybe you could set me down for a few minutes as long as I know you're close at hand.
You're not too far.
As long as I know you, who are my entire universe, the reason that I exist, the reason that I'm okay, as long as I can sort of know that you're close by because I can smell you or I can see you, then short periods of time by myself is okay. I'll try it out. If I don't die, that's really good data points for me that maybe this is an okay thing to do.
Yeah, you can stop.
But only for a very short amount of time.
Okay.
And then you come back and it just adds more data to my data collection that, yes,
oh,
okay,
you're
I
gonna
can
come
do
back.
this.
Yeah.
I can be on my own because you're always at hand if I need you. If you put a baby in a space by themselves and you leave the baby to the point where now they need you, and maybe it's not like a need like we think of need, like a need like they need to be changed, or that people will say, well, I changed the baby, I fed the baby, what the hell is wrong with the baby?
Yeah.
This baby's never happy.
Yeah.
I'm like, they need you. You're the reason they're alive. Right? They don't need...
Hashtag fact. That's
So
wild.
if you put them aside and you leave them there and they go through the, I need you. I need to just know that you're there so that I'm not going to die by myself.
Yes.
I just need to check in.
Yeah.
And you don't come. Then they're like, well, this isn't okay. This is not okay at all.
Yeah.
And now they're going to start telling you that. And if you don't come when they're telling you that, then they're going to go bigger with the telling. And if you still don't come, well, if you come then you're teaching them that they have to go bananas to get your attention.
That makes so much sense.
And then you wonder why your kid screams and why you go, they say, oh, the baby goes from 0 to 60 with no, and I'm like, you've taught them that because they can't get your attention any other way. But if you ignore that and the baby's screaming for your attention because they need you, whether they need something specific or not, they just need you. If you ignore that, then you are teaching the baby that there's no point in wasting calories because, again, they're only wired for survival and they only have set number of calories to expend. Do you know how many calories it takes to scream? A lot.
Really?
Yes. So if your baby's screaming and expending all those calories, they're not going to do it forever because it's a cost-benefit analysis.
Yeah.
They're going to stop to conserve calories, and you're going to think, oh, they learned to be quiet. They learned to self-soothe.
They didn't.
No, that's not self-soothing. That's just giving up. It's not worth expending the calories because my person's not coming for me.
So if you...
They go flat.
If
Their
that's
nervous
what
systems go flat.
What do you see in the huge, like, let's say, like 2 to 8? Like, if that is what they get when they're little, what are they seeing? As a parent, what are you going to see from your child in those huge, monumental times?
Put yourself in the baby's sleeper.
Okay.
And imagine what that would feel like. It makes you cry instantly.
Yeah, you don't feel loved. You feel like nobody's paying attention to you.
You feel like your survival is threatened.
Like I may die.
You can't get yourself food. You can't get yourself warm. You can't get yourself safe. It's the most vulnerable, terrifying. I can't even imagine how terrifying that would be to not be able to get my body to do what I needed it to do to get away from a predator.
Because you don't know how.
You can't. You don't have the control over this body yet to do that. You literally can't even crawl under a couch. You can't do anything. You are just a lump of flesh waiting to be picked off. It's a terribly vulnerable space to live in.
Yeah.
Gee, why would it be better to be on someone who actually could move you to safety if you needed it?
Yeah.
Or could get you something to eat?
Because that's all you're thinking about.
That's all you...
We forget that that's...
all
we're
you
not
care
thinking
about
that because we know, we feel
This
safe.
is what I mean when I say don't take things personally. The baby's not mad at you. The baby doesn't hate you. The baby's not trying to make your life miserable. The baby's not trying to make you lose sleep. Something is telling the baby that they're not safe, and they're letting you know that. That's all that's happening.
Wow.
Soapbox.
I felt that. I felt like you were on that. I also feel like that to me is like more reasons why I, as a person, feel like I'm not ready to have a child. Because I have always known that it's a lot of responsibility. Didn't quite know what the responsibility was, but I knew like it's a lot. And like I'm not not ready to be responsible for someone else's life and survival. Because, like, I'm trying to survive myself. Like, the fact that I still have days where I'm like, I just want to make sure I'm fed and safe.
That.
I'm
I
like,
remember saying to my husband, I can't have a kid yet. I was in my like late 20s. I'm like, I can't have a kid yet because I don't want to share my ice cream cone.
that's me! That is me! I don't want to share my snacks. I got married for that. I don't like to share my ice cream with him. And he still wants some of it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm going to be an old mom.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
We're some of the coolest moms.
I totally agree.
We just have to, again, not take it personally when our kids say, you're the oldest mom at the whole volleyball tournament. There are grandmas here as old as you. And I'm like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You are so welcome.
Yeah.
But that's why you get the Valentines that say things like, I've never seen you dysregulated.
Yes. Because you've been on
You
it.
never shame me.
You were on your shit.
You always let me come in the big bed if I need some extra snuggles.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And she still thinks I'm pretty, so.
Yeah, and that's all that matters. Yeah. Right.
So you asked, what does 2 to 8 look like?
Yeah, so
For a
if
baby who has the experience where they are
Just
not
gave up.
provided for.
they
Yeah.
just gave up, baby's in give up mode, so as a parent, what could I expect to see
Well, so
in that time frame?
the brain theory says that when they give up like that, they go back to what's called the amygdala, which is just fight or flight. It's just survival. So all of the blood shunts to your limbs,
Okay.
away from your major organs, because it's just survival. You have to be able to run. It's just the way we're wired as humans.
Well, yeah, most animals you see,
Exactly.
they do survival.
We are animals.
Yes.
So think about that just for a second on a side note. If your baby's having a hard time digesting, if they're constantly spitting up, the doctors will just say, oh, they have a reflux, and tell you to take Pepcid or omeprazole, both of which are contraindicated for babies. We won't even get into that today.
Whew. Something different we need to talk about. Apparently.
But if there's no blood flow to the gut,
That makes sense.
because your baby's in fight or flight all the time, how are they supposed to digest their food? How are they supposed to move their bowels? How are they supposed to build a gut biome? So there's that, which leaves yourself open for all sorts of issues as the
Oh,
child gets
yeah.
older.
Yeah.
You can imagine some of those. I
Yep.
don't think we need to spell those out.
No.
But if your baby's in the amygdala, then every time they hit a stressor in their lives, they will go back to their amygdala. They will never, by default, be able to pull up their higher self, their cognitive, highest functioning brain. Any stressor will send them straight to amygdala, straight to fight or flight. That's when we have panic attacks. That's when we have anxiety.
Ooh,
I put this
apparently
in
that's
giant-
something else we need to talk about too.
The air quotes,
Yep.
right?
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
You've trained them that a stressor equals go straight to fight or flight.
Wow.
Yeah, it's sad. And it's a huge opportunity. So I really encourage people with babies that are in this space already. And it's, no fault, no shame,
Yeah,
no, I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying we don't think this way. You didn't.
don't. I didn't.
I sure didn't until I saw babies coming in one after the other, where I
Yeah,
can now
yeah.
finish people's sentences before they even start them.
Yeah.
My baby this, my baby won't let me put him down. My baby won't let me not move. My baby, if I lay her down for more than 10 seconds, loses her mind. My baby spits up all the time. My baby's been diagnosed with reflux. My baby this, my baby never poops.
Yeah.
My baby's failure to thrive. They're not gaining enough weight. All of these things typically equal a nervous system that is so incredibly dysregulated because we just don't think about it from the baby's point of view.
Mm-mm.
We've bought into society's idea that our babies are somehow supposed to be self-supporting.
Yeah, right? Like, they don't sleep with you right away. The ABCs of sleep with our
don't
baby,
eat.
right? Like, so you don't want them to be attached. And the reason why they're crying is because they just want to be held because they're spoiled rotten. I've already spoiled my baby. I've always thought that way.
These are puppies. They're puppies. They come out already able to run away, already able to find food if they need to find food. They're basically self-supporting systems, and they still don't want to sleep by themselves. I tried to put them down. I couldn't do it. They lost their little minds. They need to be on my body to feel safe and finally relax and go to sleep. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't think that way.
Yeah. No, we buy into society's ideas.
Because I think I've told you.
Is this
that,
a
like,
good baby? What is that code for?
What?
Do you have a good baby?
Do you have a good baby?
What is that code for?
Is your baby sleeping and eating and pooping and not crying all the time?
Mostly is the baby sleeping. People will ask parents with a 2-day-old baby, is your baby sleeping through the night?
Baby's 2 days old. What do you mean?
Yeah. It's so preposterous if you know anything about newborns, but most people don't.
We don't. I'm
What else do
28,
we
gonna
do
be
in our
29.
lives that's that monumental that we don't do some research and some homework on before we step into it?
Because that goes back to the very controversial topic of people are out here having babies and not taking care of their damn selves.
Back to the self-love thing.
Yes. Yes. And not throwing shade. I know people are out here surviving. Life is hard. Trust and believe I know. But like, put yourself first. It's hard to put a baby first when you don't put yourself first. If I don't know how or what that means or what that looks like, then how would I put myself in that baby's shoes? I can't get my own shoes.
You can't even stay in your own shoes because you probably were raised at least partially to go into fight or flight when you hit a stressor. Back to the very beginning of this whole conversation where I said I'm having a hard time loving myself right now.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you alluded to, which is I've hit a big growth spot.
You're in this transitional period.
I am.
And it's uncomfortable.
It is.
And it feels weird. Yes.
And instead of going, oh, I'm stretched, I should care for myself more, I go, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why are you not meeting the needs?
Yes.
How could you be so lame?
You start trying to take control of things that you don't typically care about. You're like, oh, I got to do this. You know, you start getting very...
If I just make my list better.
Yes. You get very like defensive and everybody's snapping at you and you ball up in this shell and then you turn out... Nothing gets done, and if you do something, it's half-assed because you're surviving. No, it is. It's all like choppy.
It's like a big uphill push.
Yes, yes. You're doing everything you can every second of the day because you're trying to grab control because you don't know.
That's it. So I've been trying really hard to Pavlov myself. Really, just like Pavlov myself. I have done a good job of this one. Okay. You know this one.
Okay.
If what goes on around me starts to go up, I go flat.
Okay.
Just the first reaction.
Right.
Everything's ramping up. I'm going flat.
Yes. I did that this morning. Just
go flat.
It's
dog shit everywhere.
It's fine.
That happened. Yeah. Yes, it did.
It did. And it may happen again.
And it probably will happen again.
Yeah. I learned my lesson. It won't happen after we get all of this taken care of.
Well, then you just jump to the second part that I've tried to Pavlov myself to do, which is what part of this do I have some control over? Where do I have agency?
What can you control? Yeah.
And what is not mine? What can I just let go of? Because it's no control of mine.
That's creating this sense of you're already in a state of like, I have no control and everything is very uncomfortable. Yes, that's how I feel in the transitional. I feel so like I'm on a boat and I just like can't.
There's no
like
solid
I can't.
Footing.
Yes. And then I just find myself, I mean, I could hit a wall and I get so angry. You know, I'm just so mad. And and
you and I meet there. That's our go-to. Just probably, I'm sure the way we were raised, right? The go-to is, what did I do wrong?
Yes. Yeah.
Why is this happening? Well, it must be something I missed.
Yeah.
That's the phrase in my head. I missed something. If I would have been more on my game, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
When in reality, what's happening is I've been asked to fill out into a bigger arena, and I'm just not big enough to fill it yet.
Yeah, and that's okay.
So the default that I'm trying to do for myself now is to say, if I feel out of control and things aren't going well, it's because things have gotten bigger and I need to just love myself a little bit extra so that I have the energy to grow into fill that space.
And loving yourself sounds cliche, right? It's like,
I'm not going for a pedicure. You know me, I'm just slapping some more nail polish on my toes.
But that's loving yourself, right? You painted your toes. To you, your toes did not look how you wanted them to, so what did you do? You painted them. You didn't get mad, you didn't throw a fit, you didn't, let it define your whole day. You're like,
slap some polish.
Slap some polish on them. Like, just do it. It looks great.
It's fine.
But like, I feel like a lot of people get caught up on the loving yourself because they're like, what does that mean? What does that look like?
The number one way to love yourself is to watch your language with yourself.
How so?
how do I speak to myself? If I default to what did I do wrong? What did I miss?
Yes.
How could I have been so
That
stupid?
festers.
It does, and it's mean.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me feel little and ashamed, which is not a good space to try to get bigger and fill up a bigger
No.
space. It does the
You
exact
shrink.
opposite.
Yeah, you shrink.
So I would say it's a very hard thing to overwrite. It takes a lot of time and effort, but I'm better at catching it earlier. I still default to it, but I catch it earlier, and it still takes way too much energy to turn it
Turn
back around.
Yeah, yeah.
But it is getting shorter and shorter the amount of time that I spend spinning out
Because you're
in
getting
the
better and better at.
being kind to myself. So, yeah, the kind phrase that I like is, of course you feel that way. It makes sense that you feel that way.
Yeah.
There's the phrase.
Yeah.
If I can just make myself do that to myself, I feel like my chest expands, my heart rate comes down a little bit. I'm like, oh,
I'm allowed to feel this way.
oh yeah, it does kind of make sense that I would have this reaction. I do feel ineffective, or I don't know everything in this space. Like, it's, yeah.
But that, I think that right there too with people, like, you're not allowed, I feel like we're taught, right? Like, you're not allowed to, not necessarily allowed, but you should not feel that way. Like, so you to say, it's okay to feel this way. I feel like the generation prior
Yes.
to us is like, nut up or shut up. Do it.
And why?
It's okay. Just
and
get over
why?
it. Because
This is
when we were itty bitty babies, we didn't get that support, because we were also taught then ABC's asleep. I'm sure that's when it come out, because that would make the most sense. We didn't feel that love and support and structure, and we've been in survival mode. I feel like a lot of people, now that I'm aware of it, are in survival mode
At all times.
at all times. And so, no, you don't take a step back and say, it's okay to feel this way. You get over it. Move on. You'll be fine. You're not dying. Everything works.
Brush it
Go.
off.
Yeah, go ahead and go. You have to, because that's what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that feels so icky.
It's not healthy.
No, it's not fair. It's not fair to you.
I think it's a good skill
circle.
to know when you can say those things to yourself, so you don't end up stuck in a downward spiral
Or wearing other people's ickiness.
or getting caught up wearing
Brushing-
everybody else's stuff.
Brushing it off.
But self-pity, thinking it's all about you, all of those downward things are too easy to get stuck into.
It is, but I feel like some days I find myself where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take today. I'm gonna take today to pity myself.
But that's good parenting,
I don't
Justice.
care. I'm
That's
just gonna be
not.
sad.
That's not.
But then the next day I'm like, okay, you took your
Because-
time.
yes.
Let's go. All right. You felt
How
sad.
many
You
times
felt
have
pity.
I given my kids a day off because they needed a day? They've been pushing.
Because sometimes
They
you need
used
a
up all
day.
their bandwidth. They needed a day to refill
Yeah,
and find stasis again. That's natural.
that is natural, but I feel like we don't do it as parents. So why would we do it with our children?
No, that's what I mean about self-love. That's
Yeah.
self-love. I need an hour
Yeah.
to lay in bed and watch Schitt's Creek.
Yes. Yeah.
Or,
I'm gonna go get some cookies from Crumble.
and if you're a parent, that's harder to do, but you can still find little ways.
Yeah.
I used to just throw music on and dance it out with Kayla when she was a baby, and I didn't have someone coming to save me, and it was going to be a long afternoon. Okay, well, got to get the energy shifted somehow.
Right.
You just get super creative. Anyway, we've devolved off into a million topics now, but
We did.
yeah,
That's okay. I feel like
as is our want.
Yes. Well, as
And the
our-
babies are waking up.
They are. Good morning.
Hello, boys.
Good morning. They're like, oh my goodness.
Sorta.
Yeah, they're kind of awake. He's like, no, I'm back to
Nope.
sleep. That's okay. We went around with the love and like our version of love. I always love talking about self-love, because I feel like I'm working on it every day.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's some days that it's just so hard.
It is. And those are the days we need it the most.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Good parenting is really loving and gentle, and also knows how to just motivate you out of that space too.
Good parenting. I feel like that's a very vague term.
It is. Good parenting.
Because turns out good parenting is not just like
Well, it's different all the time. There's
exactly
no
everything
one-
looks different, and you know
So
what kind of
responsive parenting,
yes, paying attention, being aware,
connected parenting, relational parenting.
That's better.
I
That's
like
less
that.
vague.
Relational parenting.
Yeah.
Well,
I
like you said, I've never thought about it from the baby's point of view.
No. No. Because you're right. Because, you know, the minute Michael and I decided that, you know, at this time we're going to start trying to have a baby, what's the first thing I do? What are we going to name the baby? What colors do I want the room to be? What's the baby shower going to look like? You know, that's the first thing I think of, you know. And there's moments throughout our day, just because of where we are, like working on our self-love and things like that, where I'm like, imagine if we're sitting here in the house and we have a baby.
Yeah.
Just sitting here in this moment. Well, turns out we wouldn't be, because
There would be no sitting.
exactly. So like, you know, I think
Imagine
about like
I'm
that.
on the ball just bouncing at the baby.
Yeah, and we're just like hanging out. Yeah. But you have to like form and transform to what
And
your
you
baby
also
needs.
learn on the fly. I mean, nobody does it perfectly.
Yeah, no. Well, and that's why I don't think that, you know, people are like, you're never ready to have a baby. But I feel like I can be as ready as I want to be.
I think that that is fair. I think that
I might not be
there's
like the
learning
most
on the
prepared,
job.
but like I'm trying to set myself up so that like when it happens, I'm as
You have-
prepared as I can possibly, me for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still going to be like a, you know, holy
They'll
shit.
still hand you your butt.
Yeah,
Kids will do that.
yeah.
It's their
And
job.
sometimes I think we need it.
We do. That's why we do it.
Just not right now. Maybe a couple years later.
Do we have any announcements we need to make?
So we're flowing into, we kind of talked about earlier, flowing in with Rebecca at our next episode. Podcast will be launching. Our goal is this week.
But we're not perfect.
We're not perfect, and we're going to see what happens, because we're learning to love ourselves. And
And we love
sometimes-
you, and you can love us even though we're not perfect.
Yes, and you can do this yourself, and know that you don't have to be perfect doing it.
That's right.
Other than that, I think we're golden.
Delightful.
Say bye to the boys. Bye.